All right, I think we are going to get started. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Problematic Words and Phrases Lunch and Learn. My name is Alice Tribune. I am the Director of Advertising Compliance here at Current Compliance Services. A bit about me, I've been in the insurance industry for about 18 years. I know I don't look a day over 20, but I am. I started out in the health insurance side at a carrier, working in their call center, moved to underwriting. And then about 7 years ago, I moved over to the compliance side of things, and I've been with Curran for 3 years, and I love it. So, with that, I want to welcome you all. We had such a great response after our last Lunch and Learn last month. Um, if you did not get a chance to see that, you can catch the replay on our website under the webinar and resources menu. Like I said, today we're going to be talking about problematic words and phrases. And I hope that you find just as much information out of this beneficial as you did from the last session. With that, I am going to jump off of camera so that you can just see my PowerPoint. And we're going to get started. So today, we're going to be doing a quick overview on problematic words and phrases. We'll be going over some commonly used terms which are considered to be bad practice to use, but also may leave you open to regulatory scrutiny. And then we'll have time for a Q&A at the end, just like we did last time. So if you attended our first Lunch and Learn, you probably heard me say that an important part of any insurer's attempt to be compliant is to make sure that any and all advertisements be truthful and not misleading in fact or by implication. And there's my favorite picture again, just don't be a Pinocchio. Your goal should always be to explain your content in a way that is clear, concise, complete, and not in any way misleading. Please never mislead. So, what it comes down to is this: words matter. What you say and how you say it can have very serious implications. The words that you use are oftentimes the difference between an advertisement that is fair and balanced or not, or an advertisement that is compliant versus non compliant. According to the NAIC, the form and content of an advertisement of a policy shall be sufficiently complete and clear so as to avoid deception. It shall not have the capacity or tendency to mislead or deceive. Avoid using words, phrases, or taglines that are exaggerated or promissory in nature. This is also true of any graphics and visuals that you use. It is important to make sure that what you're claiming in an advertisement is accurate. Using extreme terms like the best or the top may appear helpful in making your insurance product more desirable, but they're actually problematic in nature. So, extreme terms are really hard to substantiate and should be avoided. It's better to use softer terms that are not easy to disprove. Some examples of these could be usually, generally, or many. And we'll go over some words and terms that are more likely than not to cause regulatory concern in a moment, sorry. But first, let's test your knowledge on problematic words. We're going to play a game. Using the chat feature, can you tell me which of these statements would be less problematic? A, we can help you find a plan that will fit your needs. Or B, we can help you find a policy that will fit your needs. Give me some answers in your chat. We're going to give it a second. I see A. I see a B. Got some A's in there. Oh, a lot of A's. Okay, so I think the A's had it. I see more A's than B's, but guys, the answer is B. We, we can help you find a policy that will fit your needs. Let's get into why that is now. Describing a product. The NAIC model and the standards developed from them are designed to ensure that consumers receive truthful information. Because of this, an insurer should avoid using the following to describe a life or annuity product. Words like plan, investment, investment plan, charter plan, profit sharing, interest plan, the other words on this list or similar words. For accident and health, an insurer shall clearly identify its accident and sickness insurance policy as an insurance policy. A policy trade name shall be followed by the words insurance policy or similar words clearly identifying the fact that an insurance policy or health benefits product is being offered. An advertisement that uses the word plan without prominently identifying it as an accident and sickness insurance policy is not allowed. So the takeaway here is to refer to your product as a policy rather than a plan. So good job for those of you who got that right. Absolute statements. In working with our clients, one of the most common remarks I make on advertising submissions, and those of you who work with me probably see this all the time, is to be careful with using absolute statements. It's really important to avoid any promissory, emotionally biased, or scary words. Fear tactics, creating a sense of urgency, and promises of security should also be avoided, as regulators do not look kindly at words and phrases that play on the emotions of the consumer. So we're going to do it again. We're going to test your knowledge again. Using the chat feature, tell me which of these options do you think would not be considered problematic and absolute? A, this may be the policy that suits your needs, or B, this policy is the best option for you. What do you think, A or B? Oh, I'm seeing a lot of A's. I think everybody has said A. All right, I couldn't fool you guys. The answer is A. This statement this may be the policy that suits your needs. While it suggests that you have a policy option that fits your client's needs, you aren't telling them as though it's a statement of fact. So great job on that. Let's take a look at some more examples. Here are some words and terms that are considered extreme and hard to substantiate. So you really want to avoid these. Words like always, guaranteed, my favorite, the best and the top, critical, destroyed, and disaster. And you want to consider using these instead: might, potentially, favorable, appropriate, important, losses, and challenge. Now let's look at examples of words and phrases that can be viewed as either creating a false sense of urgency or fear tactics. We have critical versus important. So when something is critical, it's dire, right? Or even life altering. And to use it in advertising creates that false sense of urgency that we want to stay away from. So instead of saying it's critical that you purchase a life insurance policy, you can say it's important that you find the right life insurance policy for your needs. And notice how I used policy instead of plan. Also, we've got disaster versus challenge. Using words like devastating or disaster or similar words can be viewed as a scare tactic. They're extreme in nature and they prey on the consumer's emotions. The goal should be to create awareness of solutions and not to evoke fear. So instead of saying, when disaster strikes, you need this product, you can say, during challenging times, it may help to know that you have this product. And along the same lines, you want to avoid terms like crushed and destroyed, and tragic or tragedy, which also evoke fear and a false sense of urgency. Instead, you can use words like challenges and losses, which are honest, but they're less scary. Next, we have exact terminology. These are words that are also absolute or definite in nature. They're words such as is and will. Instead of saying this policy will change your life, you could say this policy could change your life. Another example is always or all. Again, these words are extreme because they're hard to substantiate. Guys, all that anyone needs to do to prove the statement wrong is find one that goes the other way, just one. It's better to use words like usually, frequently, or generally, which are considered softer and not as easy to disprove. Next, we have subjective words. It's important to stay away from subjective words because they do not provide a consistent understanding for consumers. For example, words like simple, and the most common one I see, affordable. I see this one all the time. Using the word affordable in an advertisement raises a big red flag because what's affordable to you really may not be affordable to me. So you can use the word competitive instead. If policies are being marketed as guaranteed issue, then they cannot be marketed as inexpensive, low cost, or with similar words or phrases that are also misleading and subjective in nature. Promising on an emotional state. An insurance product cannot promise a specific emotional state, and using words and phrases that insinuate this are promissory in nature. They imply that there's a lack of risk and suggest that the client has little or no need to be concerned with the product specifics. An example of this is you can rest easy or rest assured or increase your comfort. So instead of saying you can rest easy, you can say you can feel good about your retirement strategy. The most common phrase I see when reviewing these advertisements is peace of mind. Again, this statement promises on an emotional state that it really cannot deliver on. Instead of saying this product will give you peace of mind, you can say this product can help provide a solution. Okay, so some people say that the best things in life are free, right? But in insurance, is anything ever really free? I say no. A service cannot be described as free just because there is no apparent cost. To do so is deemed misleading since it gives the client a false impression of what they're being provided. If something does have a cost associated with it, then it should be clear how that cost is being covered, and the identity of the payer must be prominently disclosed. For example, it can be stated that the charge is included in the premium or other appropriate language. Instead of free, you might say no obligation. And on the same note, be careful when using words like no cost, no fees, and never a charge. You should always be clear on what's being offered. And if it's beyond what is considered normal, you can say no additional cost or obligation. So, some more common terms to be aware of are nothing to lose, no risk, or risk free. It's not possible for an insurance product to promise no losses under any circumstances. So, terms like these are often used to produce a specific emotional state, and they're also considered promissory and misleading. So, it's like a trifecta of bad. Instead, you can say, these are some options for your consideration. So, although this webinar is a discussion about problematic words and phrases, It is also important to mention images because just as I've talked about with problematic words, it's also true that images may have the potential to be overly promissory in nature or misleading. And it's important to consider the situation in which the chosen image is being used. We're going to do it one last time. We're going to test your knowledge, okay? Using the chat feature, which of these images do you think would not be problematic? Option A or B? Got B's. Everybody's saying B. Not one of you has said A, huh? Okay. The answer is actually a trick question. And let's talk about why that is. So let's say that your advertisement states, life insurance can help you take care of your loved ones. Well, image A depicts an elderly woman. She's staring out at the window and she's looking like maybe there's a lot on her mind, right? Like she looks worried, she's not happy. It's a very gloomy scenario. Whereas image B tells a different story. This woman is enjoying her day. She's happy. She's surrounded by her family. So if I absolutely had to choose, guys, I would choose image B too, because it definitely sets a better tone for your statement. Because it doesn't bring up any negative emotions, it can't be seen as a scare tactic, and it doesn't bring up any false sense of urgency. But some people might say that it can also be viewed as overly promissory, like it's all rainbows and butterflies, right? So the bottom line is that you should really take the time to consider what the message you're trying to get across is, and then choose an image accordingly. While the use of images can be a really great way to set the tone of an advertisement, according to the NAIC, an advertisement should not contain pictures or illustrations that are false or misleading, in fact or by implication. Various images have specific issues, such as images that may suggest that a specific age group is being targeted. Also, coins and currency may raise issues of fraudulent use as well as promissory images. In short, an advertisement cannot use any image or illustration that has the capacity or tendency to mislead. So, if you're talking about potential savings and have an image of a money tree or stacks of dollars, or my favorite, the money falling out of the sky, these would be considered problematic. So the takeaway here is just as I stated earlier, that words matter, the images that you use matter as well. So with that, guys, we're going to wrap it up. And that was our introduction to problematic words and terms. I'm going to come back on the video. Hi, everyone. So, although this was by no way a complete list of the words and phrases to avoid, these are some of the most common ones that I see on a day-to-day basis. These are ones that you should really be mindful of when creating and reviewing your material. So before I start answering questions, if you haven't, you can start asking them already in the Q&A box. Um, I want to ask you to please take a few minutes to complete our survey. It should open automatically in your browser after the webinar is over. We really appreciate your time and your feedback so that we can continue to improve our services. And at this time, I'd like to open it up for questions. So if you haven't done so already, you can type any questions you have about problematic words, and I'll answer as many as I can live here today. We have about 5 minutes left, it looks like. And if I don't get to your questions during the remaining time today, please feel free to email me directly at atribu@currentcompliance.com with any questions you have now or in the future. Or if you forgot anything today, you can email me later, okay? So can we get a copy of this slide deck? We're gonna send out this webinar to you guys at some point after this, and then we put them on our website as well. So you'll be able to catch it again. What if we already have an ad out in usage? and now realize it's problematic. What can we do about it? And can we get fined still? So if it's living out in the universe, it's living out in the universe. So yeah, there's always that potential that you can get fined. But the best thing to do would be to pull it now, make any corrections, and then uh, make it live again. But there's always that risk of regulatory scrutiny, right? Is it okay to use top rated carrier instead of best rated carrier due to the AM best rating for most carriers and AM best copyright information? So I would not use top rated either. Because are you really the top or the best? It's still um, it's still a problematic word. I'm sorry. What if certain phrases are hedged? Help provide peace of mind. You're going to hate my answer. I would still say no because you're still using that term peace of mind. It does soften it, absolutely softens it. So if you have that appetite for risk, um, you can certainly try it. But my suggestion would always just be not to use it. I like provide a solution better. We can help provide you a solution. Thank you for that question, Kara. Thank you. Um, is expert problematic? Yes, expert is problematic. Because how do you prove your expertise? I mean, I know that there are some licenses and things of that nature, but in general, I always recommend experience. Like, um, you can call in, and our expert advisors will answer your call. Well, how do you know that all of your advisors are experts? I like experienced versus expert. What are your thoughts on the use of the word plan versus policy if the piece is discussing a healthcare plan versus the contract slash policy in a particular sentence? You still can't use plan. You have to use policy if, let's say you got a paragraph going and you're using policy 1,000 times, you can say coverage. So you can say, you can choose this healthcare coverage. These are your coverage options. That's an alternative to plan, but I would not say plan. Lori, how about added peace of mind? I say no. I say stay away from peace of mind in general. I would say, we can help you find a solution. Um, I got that question. I was under the impression that no additional cost was not permitted. Is that phrase okay? No additional cost is usually okay. It kind of depends on the circumstances that you're using it. That actually brings up an example that I wanted to tell you guys about the word free, because I've seen some of my clients will do something like they'll send out a brochure, or they'll be like a link where they'll say, please you can download your free brochure about this. And I always tell my clients not to do that either, because even though you're not charging them for the brochure, you're probably going to email them, you know, 1,000 times after they download this brochure to try to get them to schedule some type of call or, buy a product. So there's still some type of associated cost. So under that circumstance, I would say no obligation as well. And I think we're at time. And I think I answered pretty much every other question. So with that, guys, um, I just wanted to thank you all again for attending this session. I really hope that it was informative and that you've taken away some valuable information that's beneficial to you. Again, please don't hesitate if you have any questions. You can email me directly at atribu@currentcompliance.com. Don't forget the survey, and hopefully we'll see you next time. Bye, everyone. Thank you so much.